How do we transfer that into healthy relationships? Because I know you speak a lot into the consent space, into healthy relationships and what that looks like for boys. I know I was just talking with a mate of mine, he's in his 40s, and we were talking about his porn addiction when it started when he was 13. And he's now, like, he's had a couple of attempts at stopping it. He kind of feels like now that he's in his 40s, he's got it under control and stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been something that's dogged him his whole life.
Yeah.
How do we do that with young men? How do we encourage them to have healthy relationships, particularly when they're on these devices and it's thrown up in their face all the time?
It's tragic, hey? And I'm so glad that you are chatting to other men about it. We just have to, anyone that knows me knows that's where I cut my teeth, is just talking openly and honestly about it. And I've shared my story in mainstream media a lot. Publicly, I was 11 when I was exposed to pornography, consumed it off and on for the best part of a decade, and was on the process of rebooting, because as I say to young men, this thing between your ears is the most important sexual organ, and you're rebooting that to your body, to your emotions, to your soul, so that you can actually be a good lover in the fullest sense of that word. Because there is 1,000 counterfeits here. I've got primary schoolers telling me they get ads for OnlyFans, they're pop-ups for sexually explicit content. Now we've got AI chatbots. And of course, that's never going to reject you, disown you. It's always going to be there for you. It's a counterfeit. And I am not judging people that use it. I mean, the bloke who was already married to a real woman who then proposed to his AI chatbot, like, that gives me the ick, and I want to be able to say, like, mate, get help. But like, I want to have compassion and empathy as to, like, clearly we're in a time where lots of people are actually talking to these things. And I ask boys, like, let's be compassionate, let's be curious, like, why might that be? Let's not judge, let's be curious, let's be compassionate. And it's like, they're lonely, they're scared of being judged. Like, if they open up to a friend, that could become gossip, they could be, they could be made fun of. And you're like, isn't that sad that people don't feel like they actually have friends, loved ones, close confidants that they can talk to, so they're going to this chatbot? I mean, and that's just one piece of this puzzle, let alone, as you said, the sexually explicit material that, again, gives a counterfeit, and, it gives this false sense, and it removes the possibility of genuine love. Because, of course, love is risky. Love is vulnerable. You could get hurt. You could be rejected. And we actually need men with chests. And if you know the reference, I'm obviously pointing to C.S. Lewis when he talks about that, like, that you can live fulsome. He's talking about men with heart, like men who can actually show up wholeheartedly in life. And part of that is you risk. You could be hurt. To love is to be vulnerable, and you could be hurt. And we just so need to equip, not just boys, but let's be honest, all of us for the excitement, the joys, the vulnerability, the risk of that. And that's not just romantically, right? Like, we should love our friends. We should love our families. We should show up fully for them, even if they can't, and that's the real measure of our love. And I think, these devices, sadly, and it's not the boys' fault that they're in the time of $97 to $120 billion porn industry, makes up goodness knows how much of the internet, what percentage, they're getting pop-ups, they're seeing this years before their first kiss. For girls, it's a couple of years, for boys, it's 3 years. It's like, this is an unfair fight. And it's unfair for the parents and caregivers trying to wrangle this. Like, it's huge. So we have to have empathy and compassion for this, and not shame people, We just can't. Yes, I think it is harmful. I'm nearly more outspoken than anyone in Australia on its harms. But I have to humanize the person, and they need love and they need care, and to get to the root of, like, why, what need is this meeting? What are we trying to cope and soothe? Because let's be honest, as humans, we cope and soothe in lots of different ways, and we just got to be honest about that and be real with that. But that is part of the terrain for boys, and it's an unfair, toxic mix that they are trying to wade through as their, testosterone levels have increased, as obviously their brain's still developing, and they have so many different distractions and temptations that they're trying to wade through. And it's, this is known as limbic capitalism. It's trying to hijack their limbic system, which is what pornography, social media, gaming, and gambling all tap into, that endless rewards, which our brains, like, they're wired for it. And so it is tough. And I try to help them make sense of the brain science around it, and then to think about where they could be going to get healthy hits of dopamine and finding meaning, and, trying to make it easier. Because I do feel like they're doing life on, like, hard mode, whereas I feel like I did it on easy mode.
This was recorded as part of Table Talk on Sonshine. If you want to catch up with the full episode of this, go to sonshine.com.au and look up Table Talk. You'll be able to find it there. Can I highly recommend you go and get the Sonshine app, put it on your phone. You can listen to us live anywhere, broadcasting hope across the world. If you want to listen to a long form podcast, go to your favourite streaming service. You'll find it there, or go to the Sonshine app, download it. You'll get it all there. You're with Doug. You're on Sonshine.